Even with Jacoby Brissett not playing Saturday night against the Dallas Cowboys, proof of concept is key. Let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Clancy here. Today's episode is brought to you by Kalshi. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app, use code LOCKEDON and get $10 when you trade $10. So, no Jacoby Brissett. Mike LaFleur spoke to the media yesterday. We'll get into it. What's success for Saturday night? It's important because there needs to be incremental things happening, moving in the right direction, regardless of who's playing. The guy's fighting for a spot, and not for a spot on the roster, for a spot atop the mantelpiece with respective positions, which I'll discuss. And proof of concept with no Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby's not going to play. Michael LaFleur, paraphrasing, said you'll see some starters out there, but Jacoby Brissett will not play. Gardner will play into the first half, and we'll figure it out after that. We'll play through the first half, and we'll figure it out after that. So let's start with Gardner Minshew. So if you don't have two quarterbacks in this league, you've got none. That's the new wave. Like running backs, like everything. I don't remember a time in the early 2000s and even the mid-2000s, outside of like a random Aaron Rodgers broken collarbone or something like that, where star quarterbacks would miss time. I feel like it just never happened. That could just be, recency bias where I can't remember, but it seems like it's happening a lot more, with a lot more prevalence over the last 7, 8, 10 years. So now, even though the Cardinals quarterback room isn't the strongest, you still need two capable guys just in case. And you never wish injury upon anybody. You never wish anybody to get injured. I just give that disclaimer probably 20 times a year. But Gardner Minshew's ability to run this offense is almost as important as it is for Jacoby Brissett. Obviously, it's not exactly the same, but Gardner Minshew coming in, what we've seen so far, he's looked good. He threw a back shoulder fade in the end zone to Jalen Brooks for a touchdown. I believe it was Jalen Brooks. You got to see his command of the offense also. And the beautiful part about this is it's not Keaton Slovis throwing to the ones. So whoever is playing, Marv, Michael Wilson, I don't know if you see Trey McBride, like these guys still need to learn the offense. Tyler Algier, I'm assuming, will play. The beauty of it is Gardner Minshew is still a number one quarterback, so to speak. He started many games in the league. So there's not going to be some weird drop-off where it's like, okay, so why do you have the starters out there if the starting quarterback's not there? That doesn't make any sense. Here it does. And I understand that the room isn't perfect. Okay, I understand the room isn't perfect. But there's going to be proof of concept necessary, even with Gardner Minshew at quarterback. What is proof of concept? Proof of concept is this offense going to work regardless of who's throwing the ball and who's calling the plays? And I know it's the preseason. I know the Cowboys probably aren't going to play many starters. So this could be another, the Cardinals are going to be these darlings of preseason, and they're not going to be able to score in the regular season. You're going to see that. You're going to see all the comments flood in. But it'll be fascinating to see if the offensive efficiency will still continue like it is at an incredible rate through 2 weeks of games that don't matter. Games that matter for players who are looking to make the roster, games that don't matter for win-loss in 2026. So it's a weird situation to be in, where it's like you're excited, but does it just not mean anything? Are you watching a fictional movie thinking it's real? Only time will tell. We've got 20 some odd days until kickoff. 2 weeks from Sunday, I think? 2 weeks from 3 weeks from Sunday. Dang it. 3 weeks from Sunday. Gardner Minshew can show the proof of concept necessary. He doesn't need to be Jacoby Brissett. And that's a good thing going into the third preseason game. And then you'd expect no starters in the fourth preseason game against Green Bay because they have their joint practice that week. And if it's anything like the reports out of myriad joint practices across the league up until this point, it's like, man, it is fierce. There are some fights. There's good play. Like you watch the film, it's like, I'm excited to see that film. But this isn't ho-hum against Dallas either. You got to see the run block scheme. It's going to work well. You got to see what the offensive line looks like. It's going to be fascinating to see where Isaiah Adams and John Gaines and, and Isaac Seumalo and Yalta, like we'll see if Yalta Frollo plays. Like you got to see what you got on the offensive line too. You've got to see what you got. And so far, so good, but it's not real football yet. So far, so good. But the offensive line, proof of concept. Outside zone run block scheme. It's new for most. You got to see what you got. Wide receivers with Gardner Minshew. You've got to see what you got. You obviously know, and we'll talk about this in the next segment, but Marvin and Michael Wilson are going to be there. They've got 38 other receivers who can make this roster. Like, it's crazy. You're going to have Reggie Virgil, the fifth-round pick, who's shown flashes of Michael Wilson in him. Jalen Brooks has been the star of camp. You've got Kendrick Bourne. Xavier Weaver's here, even though he got banged up. Like, you got some dudes. And again, the beauty of it is, especially in the first half, Gardner Minshew is well equipped to highlight this offense and get the ball where it needs to go, especially in this situation. So you're still going to be able to watch the film, watch the tape, be like, okay, even though we probably think we know what 1 to 11 on Sunday is going to be on both sides of the ball, what are the depth guys going to look like? Who are definitely making the roster? What's that official first depth chart going to look like? Now, on the defensive side, the proof of concept is a little bit different. This is more incredibly unknown. You knew that you were just going to run it back with the offense and add Jeremiah Love. You added Kendrick Bourne, you brought in the left guard. We brought back Elijah Wilkinson. But you knew what the skill position group was going to be, and after signing Tyler Algier naturally as well. But the defense is they just ran it back. Brought in Andrew Billings, okay. Dalvin, Calais gone. Brought back Roy Lopez. But it's pretty much run it back. Brought in Andrew Wingard and Jack Gibbons. But it's not like you brought in a piece. It's not like you brought in this, the defense is going to shift now because this player is now on the roster. It's not. So every snap that has a clock attached to it from now until the regular season is going to be paramount for the defense to figure out what they got. Plenty of DBs, plenty of guys in the interior. You got some guys on the edge who may or may not make the roster and some were higher picks a couple years ago. So whenever I get excited, I pause immediately. I'm like, there's still significantly more questions than answers. Luckily, in this process, which is what you yearn for as Michael LaFleur took over, it's as long as the offense looks to be working at whatever stage it is, at wherever we are watching with this team during the preseason, during camp, whatever it is, as long as that seems to be working, everything else seems palatable, even though that seems kind of counterintuitive and ignorant because it's not just 11 guys on the field for 60 minutes. But as long as one side of the ball seems to be progressing and seems to be gelling, and we'll see that more with Gardner Minshew on Saturday, like more proof of concept, more film, more looks, more reps for the ones, depending on who's out there. That's good. On the defense, we knew going into this season that Nick Rallis is, on the sun with how hot his seat is. That was dumb. I tried. And Terrell Austin is there. He's been in the league 20 years. He was with the Arizona Cardinals when they went to the Super Bowl. But just because there are a bunch of questions doesn't mean it's not going to mold into shape. Garrett Williams, activated off the PUP. Okay. So now you're going to have your Will Johnson, your Walter Nolan, your Garrett Williams to start the season, which is good news because Walter Nolan and Garrett Williams both had what looked to be very serious, and they were, injuries at the end of last season. And they're able to make full recoveries going into the season, which is fantastic. And Mike LaFleur, when asked about Garrett Williams, because obviously that was the first question in his presser yesterday, he was like, this is a day that we knew was coming for a long time. So they knew when they were going to activate him, and they knew he was healthy enough to be activated for a while. So that's good news. That's very good news. With that said, guys fighting for spots, and I mean on the depth chart, and there's one that I'll throw in who I don't know where he is. I know where he is. I don't know where he is with regard to being an Arizona Cardinal next year or not. I'll discuss it next. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. There's certain flavors that instantly feel like summer, and to a lot of people, those classic red, white, and blue freezer pops are right at the top of the list. Sweet cherry, lime, blue raspberry. It's one of those nostalgic summer flavors everybody recognizes. Now, 5 Hour Energy is bringing that flavor combination into the new Firework Freeze 5 Hour Energy shot, blending sweet cherry, zesty lime, and electric blue raspberry into one refreshing shot inspired by those iconic summer freezer pops. Like, I remember, the ice cream man playing baseball at Van Nuys Park or basketball. You hear that sound? Driving around after practice, ice cream man, freezer pop. Come on, red, white, blue freezer pop. And just right into the feels. Ignite your taste bud with the flavor of the summer. Get a Firework Freeze 5 Hour Energy shot today. Press the button. Please go to YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals, hit that subscribe button. You hear my internal monologue when the button doesn't work. Yeah, subscribe. Why not? Tell your friends. Your team every day. Tomorrow, squad show, immediately following the game, immediately following me doing a live reaction for 15 minutes. Yeah, man, we're getting closer. We're getting closer. And it still feels like it's been August 20th for 2 months. Like, the start of camp seemed to be 3 years ago. Why is this taking so long? Anyways, the guy's fighting for a spot. So let's start with the surprise-ish B.J. Ojulari. I don't know why he's playing so much in the preseason. And playing so much without any sort of real impact, which is tough. Like, it's not like he's had 3 or 4 sacks during the first 2 games where he's like, oh, this guy is definitely, he's been in the league. He's not a guy who's trying to make a roster spot. He was on special teams. Played special teams reps. Just like, is he going to be on the roster next year? I was assuming he will be. But it's like, it's not usually a good look when all of your starter friends are in street clothes and you're running special teams reps during a Hall of Fame game. And he got a bad rap, man. No games missed in college. And then he tears his ACL and everything else, it seemed. And it's, we're 2 full years removed and we haven't seen that burst since. And it's difficult to watch. So hopefully they just want him to get healthy reps like he hasn't had in a while. You're hoping that's the case. Regarding depth chart spots, there's 2 very fascinating groups. The DBs and the wide receivers. Okay. We know running back. We know offensive line pretty much. John Gaines going to be the swing guy. I'm still surprised they haven't added anybody. I'm assuming when cuts are made, then they'll go add a depth piece. Will Hernandez met with the Lions yesterday. I don't know if it's just like liking a familiar face with Will Hernandez, but I don't know. I think they need to add another piece on the right side. The DBs are what fascinate and terrify me more. Not fear-mongering, terrify, but the big question marks are all grouped together, and you don't know who's going to end up where. So you'd expect Garrett Williams, obviously, he's mostly inside. They asked him about that yesterday. Played mostly inside. He played a little bit outside last year with the injuries, but he's playing. And plus, they had Jalen Thompson to be able to come down and play nickel, play in the slot. He's not here anymore. So you expect him to play inside for the majority of the season. Now, the outside guys, you've got Will Johnson, you'd expect. We don't know yet. He played pretty well last year. Okay. There were no real oh-no moments outside of him getting, ran roughshod all over against Houston. He had a couple holding penalties early on in the season. He played pretty well. Okay. But then you've got this group of Denzel Burke, Max Melton, Star Thomas, Sean Murphy-Bunting. It's like, are you going to keep all those guys? You got Elijah Jones there, who's probably going to be a squad guy, I would assume. What are you going to do? How are you going to know? And I know that, and they have practice and stuff, so I know how they're going to know. But when you have these games, it's like, okay, does Denzel Burke have the inside track? Are we going to have to see that from him to supplant Max Melton as that second guy alongside Will Johnson? Do they already know? I think if they play, they don't know yet. And we don't know who's going to start yet. He said, you're going to see some guys on both sides who are going to be starters, who are going to play on Saturday. So if you see Max Melton out there, but not Denzel Burke, if you see both of them out there, that for me is like, oh, they don't know yet. That's not fantastic. That's not fantastic, especially week one when you go into a Mike McDaniel offense. So that's, for me, going into Saturday, that's going to be the telltale for both sides. But especially for the DBs, because the pass rush is weaker than you'd like for it to be. We'll see if Josh Sweat and Walter Nolan can kind of hold it down during the regular season. There's somebody that can emerge that can help. Maybe move Mac Wilson outside. Who knows? With all of that in place already, there's going to be so much more of an emphasis and pressure on the DBs to produce because they're going to have to protect or they're going to have to cover for maybe an extra second than what a good pass rush would allow them to do. You've got a lot of guys, and you don't know really right now because Denzel Burke played okay last year. He had a couple of interceptions. He had, 4 interceptions or something, made the all-rookie team. Max Melton played pretty well his rookie season, kind of fell out of favor last year. Last year was just, I don't know if you just throw away last year altogether. I don't know. I mean, we're going to find out. We're going to find out this season how impactful last season was, or if it's like, well, Cardinals had no run game. Everybody got hurt. Everybody kind of was playing in defense mode, and you weren't able to really play your real defense. Maybe this is going to be a faster defense. Maybe this is Nick Rallis's. Like, Nick Rallis plays, he has a funky defense. He's got a base set of 3-4, but I mean, they're rare. Like, you never know who's going to be on the field. So the malleability of that is sometimes difficult for DBs who in college just played a traditional defense. So the ability to adjust is, a big thing. And maybe that's where Max Melton wasn't able to, keep up. And that's probably maybe why he fell out of favor last year. When you look at the group of Denzel Burke, Max Melton, Star Thomas, Sean Murphy-Bunting, and you'd expect Will Johnson to start alongside one of them, who's going to take that throne? And what are we going to need to see from this team to be able to solidify that that's the right choice? That's why on Saturday, it's going to be fascinating to see who plays. With the offense, with the wide receivers, Marvin, Michael Wilson, I don't see a world where one plays and one doesn't. I don't think you'd want to start that fire. Oh, Michael Wilson's not playing. Marv's playing? Yikes. What does that mean? Everybody would go wild in this space. Most people wouldn't care, but Jalen Brooks. Are you going to see him like Reggie Virgil? Like Reggie Virgil has made an impact as well. So you're going to carry just 5 dudes? 6? Like Xavier Weaver, the odd man out? He's got speed. Most people don't have speed on this team, really. Like that kind of speed. I know that Michael Wilson and Marvin Jones are going to be atop both of their respective positions on the depth chart. Okay, so this is a little bit different than the cornerback room. But if they're both playing, I don't know how good of a sign that is. I think the Jeremiah Love thing kind of spooked people into thinking, well, just bubble wrap everybody. It's not really how it works, unfortunately. I mean, because I agree in some capacity. But maybe you get him out there for a series or 2 and get him out. That's what I expect. And then you'd love to see Jalen Brooks and Reggie Virgil with Gardner Minshew. I would love to see that. I would love to see, Bam Knight with the ones. You got to see what you got. I will just make one thing, going back to the first segment. I might not want to play Tyler Algier. I might not want to play Tyler Algier. Because that would be way too close for comfort with what we experienced last year with this team during the preseason. They didn't even make it to week 4 this time. Yeah, no. Damn. Yeah, I'm not playing Tyler Algier. He's been in the league a handful of years. He's fine. He can run the scheme. I'm bubble wrapping him too. Can't take the chance. Maybe we should have led with that. No, the Gardner Minshew thing was more important. What's success? I did this with the crossovers. Like, what does success look like for the Cardinals on Saturday night? I'll discuss it next. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by Kalshi. Before the season even kicks off, everyone's making playoffs. Who's hitting the trophy at season's end? On Kalshi, America's #1 prediction market platform, you can trade those predictions in a live market. Will the Cowboys make the playoffs in that tough division? Will the Cardinals definitely finish in last place? Are the 49ers going to win 10 games with all the injuries they've sustained? On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. Trade the draft pick, the game, and more on Kalshi. Download the Kalshi app. Use code LOCKEDON to get $10 when you trade $10. KALSHI. Kalshi. Trade on anything. 18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Kalshi products are not available in all jurisdictions. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory. YouTube channel, subscribe, Big Dumb Face, Cardinal Squad Show after the game, immediately following me, immediately after the game for 15 minutes. That's going to be the cadence. I believe we're doing Wednesday, Sunday again this year, so it's going to be shifting up a little bit. Luckily for that, the Cardinals only play on Sundays, so it's going to work. What's success on Saturday night? Offensive competence. Offensive competence is the name of the game. I don't care if it's Keaton Slovis in the second half with Reggie Virgil as his top receiver. Don't care. Offensive competence. I go back to the proof of concept from the first segment. It doesn't matter the level of player who is on the field running the offense. If the offense is working, they are running against players at their skill level for the most part in the preseason in the second half. So if the offensive line is holding up, which is a little bit looser than the actual offense working, but the offense is holding up. Keaton Slovis is finding open receivers. The running backs are getting open gaps to jump cut back into if they can't hit the edge. Like, those things still carry over. I know it's not a direct one-to-one comparison naturally, but showing the offense working is showing the offense working. So if we're going to take stock in the ones during the preseason, running the offense and it working, you've got to take stock in the threes and it working, because it's one big plane and you're just seeing, the level of competition goes down, but it's the same level of competition at each stage. Starters, backups, backups. Guys trying to make the roster. They're playing their heart out. If the Cardinals offense is still working, it's working. Obviously, it's not as important as when Gardner Minshew is playing. But that's it. Offensive competence. Longer drives. Converting on third and short and fourth and short. These are things that will carry over. And with the Cardinals having issues for the last 3 years, my favorite stat Warren Sharp did, 52% on fourth and one over the last 3 seasons, which is egregious. How many failed drives? How many stalled drives because they couldn't get 3 feet? That's going to change. Defensively, this is a little bit less abstract. I hope that Denzel Burke and Max Melton play. I want to see wow. I want to see a pick from a starter. I want to see a quarterback get sacked outside of Walter Nolan. Like, I want to see something that you can take away and be like, oh, yes, one for the good guys, even though it's the preseason. It's the home preseason opener. Sure, there's going to be 70% Dallas fans there, but, it's kind of how it goes. You want to see some pop from the defense. You want to see something where you can check the box. And it's like, well, what, Alex? What do you want to check the box on? Anything. Anything. A sack from somebody not named Walter Nolan. An interception. A tackle for loss. Really good pass rush that results in a turnover. Something to put your teeth into. Because the Cardinals have given up 3,000 points in the first 2 weeks. And if that doesn't mean, like, if you don't think that that's going to carry over, if you don't think that's not going to carry over, I disagree. Maybe not to the magnitude, of course. But you got to see what you got on defense. They're going to spend a lot of money next offseason. bringing in some vets, I would assume. But they've got 17 games to play this year. And if they're giving up 30 burgers every game, it's going to be a very, very tumultuous season. Like, imagine the torture of the Cardinals offense scoring 25, 27 points a game and the Cardinals defense giving up 28 points per game and the Cardinals winning 4 games. Imagine the torture. Now, I mean, that would be the best variant of bad because, the offense is working. But yikes. You got to see more substantial. It's more theoretical and conceptual with the offense on Saturday. It's more who's going to make some plays. Because this defense isn't really conceptual. It's an amoeba. It's guys everywhere. So you got to see who's going to make plays. I don't care the level. And sure, this is going to taper off in the second half. But first half, even if, say the Cowboys sit everybody. I don't even know who their backup quarterback is. Joe Milton. Say Joe Milton starts and plays the whole game. He won't, but just say it, okay? No CD, no George Pickens, no Javonte, no starting offensive line, no, Quinnen, Rashawn Gary, and Kenny Clark. Say nobody plays, and it's only the twos. And the Cardinals are starting their starting defense. And they can't pick off a ball or two, or get a couple sacks, or get a handful of tackles for loss, or stymie that offense. Got problems. If the twos for one team can put up a bunch of points against the one for another, I don't care if it's a preseason or not. That is not a good look. So the Cardinals offensive efficiency. That's it. I don't care who's out there. Offensive efficiency. Everybody really pretty much knows who the starters are going to be. Offensive efficiency. Defense, got to make plays. Really, it sounds cliche and generic, but you got to see statistical things outside of just tackles after first downs. Turnovers, being opportunistic, sacks, tackle for losses, pass deflections, and maybe have it be somebody else in Walter Nolan this time. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. I will talk to you immediately following the game tomorrow. Immediately following me is the Cardinal Squad. Remember, without you, there is nobody. I'll talk to you then.